Hi, and welcome back to Believe in the Land. This time is going to get fancy. We're going to do some diagrams, some football plays. Tony Camino there, our artist at work. Me, just a simple viewer. Andy Billman here. We're going to be talking Browns, what we saw from the first week. We're going to do this throughout the regular season. So hopefully you enjoy it just as much as Tony did mocking up the plays. Tony did an article on believeintheland.com that breaks this down more thoroughly. So this is just kind of a taste of it. This is kind of similar how we're going to do during the year too. This will be more shorter, like 5 to 10 minutes. For a great, and I mean awesome detailed look, go to believeintheland.com. Tony will do it weekly for the Browns. So, Tony, let me lead you off. This is kind of your segment here. We're going to talk about DTR. We're going to talk about Tillman. Which I'm not surprised we're going to bring up on this show and talk about some things they did on the field and what made them so successful in the first preseason game. But you mentioned two offensive linemen who are rookies. Why don't you expand on why you talked about those two? We're not going to see their plays, but why you selected those two as well to pick out.
Right. So when you watched the game, when I went back and watched it, didn't get to see every single play on the all-22 angles, but even just from the TV view, you can really tell that the two Ohio State guys, Luke Weipler and DeJuan Jones, stood out a lot. DeJuan Jones, I mean, he's massive, 6'8", just a huge immersible force, and he moves his feet like he's not that big. So his pass protection was great. And then for Weipler, he was the center, and he showed a lot of good things. He was really good at getting to the second level, and he looks like a tight end in the screen game. Like, they'll throw it in these screens, he gets out there, and he's running downfield faster than the rest of them. So both looked really good and solid in their blocking, and they also both showed very good signs of their ability to project at that position in the future.
The one thing that's very apparent to me, to what Tony's talking about, is the rookies so far have performed well. I will say we have not said that as much as I thought we would have in the last 5 or 6 years. But I thought also Isaiah McGuire stood out. I know he talked about the two offensive linemen. Jones has been getting a lot of hype, as he should. And it's pretty clear when you watch loosely, the kid, and now, of course, as soon as I say his Cam Mitchell. Mitchell looks good too. The Guardians are good at pitching. The Browns are good at picking cornerbacks. They do a very good job of picking cornerbacks. Newsom's good, and I gotta say, I think Cam Mitchell's gonna be good. I really both like him a lot.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, a lot of DBs played well. Really, the defense played pretty inspired. The D-line in general, I would have liked to see look a little better. They didn't really get much push, like line of attack. They're getting back in the pocket, and we're not really collapsing that. But it's game one, so
I think it's funny. I heard Jake Trotter earlier today, and he said kind of what I said when we did this last. I'm not worried about the DNs. I'm really not. No. The D tackles, I'm concerned. Right. I think Tomlinson's a D tackle that can play. I don't know what else they got outside that. It's only one preseason game, so you don't want to put all your eggs into one thought. But I got to be honest, like, Elliott is another, like, whatever. Ika, okay. The other gentleman, I couldn't tell you from one to the other. I saw pressure coming from the ends. I did not see any pressure coming from the middle. And it's very noticeable. And I actually thought at one point, which I thought kind of was a theme for the game, is weird. The first team that came out for the Browns was kind of the backups. I thought, like, McGuire and Thomas, who I thought made plays, not big plays, but made pushes. And even Ika, they didn't play until the third and fourth quarter. So a lot of those guys didn't get into late. But I know what you're saying. I'm not as concerned about the edges.
No.
Defensive tackles,
I mean, and that's been the concern we've been talking about this over and over. What's the concern? D tackles. If there's a hole on the roster, that's where it is.
It is.
Without a doubt.
Tomlinson cannot get hurt. I'm going to tell you, that's a big injury if he gets hurt this year. Now, we'll flip it to on the field and excitement. I am excited about what we saw from DTR. I know you kind of pointed him out here, and I think he actually deserves the pointing out. So what we'll do here, as you see, it's brought up here. So Tony draws on this. So Tony, I'll kind of let you take us through here. This is pre-snap one. You have two others after this. So what are you diagramming here, and what do the arrows exactly mean?
So this is simple. What really DTR is going to read here is he's going to watch Felton come out of the backfield, and he's just going to go out. And then there's a dig on the far side who's going to come back across the field. So really, what he's looking for is to see what 43 does when Felton releases.
Right.
And as you'll see on the next one, when Felton does release, 43 takes him that way, and then right away he knows it's man coverage. And usually against man coverage, that dig's going to be open, and it was. And you could see his arm angle in this picture too, with the pressure like right in his face, right off to his left. The ability to get that arm to like a non-natural arm angle, that's really impressive stuff that I was not really expecting to see out of him.
Yeah, he's athletic. He, like to Tony's point, that arm angle there is almost sideways. It's almost a 90-degree, not 90 degrees, sorry, 180-degree angle. That's not usual. It's not the norm. And he is athletic. He really, really comes off with athleticism and his throws.
Yeah, and then right there for the completion, right across the middle. I mean, it was wide open because dig came across, and that dig, the safety had a late break on it and put it right where it needed to be.
Here's where I come off on this DTR thing and watching these plays again. Let's actually go back to the first one here for a second. It's good to see that he's noticing simple things at a high level. I give a lot of this credit to Chip Kelly playing for UCLA. It helps when you play for a former NFL coach. I think it really helps. So for everybody out there who kind of doubts certain programs, this is where UCLA, they're not winning championships, but he's playing in a pro system.
Right.
And this is where it really helps because of that simple formation here, he was able to hit the guy for a big play. I mean, that's a big play.
Yeah.
And he's able to hit it.
16. I mean, we're way behind. You're not really – at that point, you're just praying that you get the first down, and he comes through right away and gets it.
I think the thing that jumps out to me, Tony, is I see a lot here with DTR, and maybe I need to start opening my eyes more. Is there a chance, and I know for people this is too old, but back in my day, in the 80s, what was ironic for the Niners is they kind of took in Montana and they drafted this guy, Steve Young. And from there, they kind of created this quarterback cradle. The Packers kind of did it serendipitously with Favre and Rodgers. It's way too early, but maybe this can happen here with DTR. Maybe.
I mean, I think the good news in a situation like this is he's a 5th-round pick. So if we keep him as our backup for the entirety of his rookie deal, he's not really going to bat an eye and he's behind Deshaun Watson. So it's not like he's in a situation where he was the 1st-round pick and he's playing behind, an aging bridge quarterback. He's sitting behind a superstar. And if he can really take these next 4 years and really mature as a passer, learn the system, I mean, it's week 1. You certainly don't want to overreact, but he's an athlete with the football. And we looked at Lamar Jackson and people passed on him when everyone ignored just how good he was with the ball in his hands and what he could do. I'm not saying DTR is Lamar Jackson, but the guy has skill on a football field, and he looked better under pressure than I expected. So
I actually think he's a better thrower. I mean, I know Lamar Jackson won the MVP. Lamar's the closest thing I've seen to Vic, where Vic really threw bombs and ran. That's what Lamar Jackson is. I think DTR can throw, and he can run.
He can run too.
But he can really, really swing the ball. My point is, he needs to sit out this year. I see that very clear. But what's exciting to me is he clearly understands the game, and that's awesome. I think he's going to learn a lot by watching.
Right.
I really do.
God will do a lot of wonders for him too.
Yep. If you don't watch enough football for college football's sake, I was really impressed by Tennessee last year. This kid Tillman, who you're going to show next, was injured for some of it, but I saw him in the previous years. Tennessee does provide a lot of wide receivers. What did you see in Tillman that you like so far in this game?
I mean, he just stood out really in the entirety of that game. He was making plays. He was getting open. He had sure-handed. He really just looked bigger, stronger, and faster than all the DBs on the field. And this is the catch that so many of us saw was the holding penalty, one-on-one coverage, and takes him deep, gets the cornerback going vertical with him so he doesn't get a touchdown, slams on the brakes, and comes back to the ball. And, I mean, that's as textbook of an ankle breaker as you can see. That guy is flying the wrong direction, and it was a wide-open completion. So really good stuff from Tillman.
I think the sky's the limit with Tillman. I really do. I think he actually has a chance to be very productive. He was injured last year for Tennessee. He was supposed to be a big-time receiver. The Browns got a break. Because of his injury, he dropped in the draft. If he was healthy, he was a low first-round, high second-round pick. He got injured, and away we go. This kid can play. There's no question. So
Yeah.
let's add Tillman on to Jones out of the center from Ohio State. Our Whippler, where did Whipper play for Texas Tech, was it?
Oh, he was at Ohio State last year.
That's right, Ohio State. There's some lineman we drafted from Texas Tech a couple of years ago. And then we got Mitchell. There's a lot of good young rookies here. DTR. I mean, this is early, but this class is showing a lot early. And I did not feel this way about last year's class.
No.
I really didn't feel like, oh, Alex Wright. I just never felt that.
Yeah. Kind of looking pretty solid, but
yeah, I mean, he's a nice fight.
But I know what you're saying. Yeah, this one we got. I mean, we had a first pick was in the 3rd round, and we somehow have all exciting guys after one game.
It is, and DTR and Tillman, it is one game. I will say, there's time and there's injuries. There's things that could happen, but this is a very good start to the point where it's like I think it's authentic.
Yeah.
I think the days of Kellen Mond are done. That's how authentic this is.
Mm-hmm.
And Tillman's going to be playing a lot on Sunday. That's how authentic this is. Tony will be doing this throughout the season. This is just the first game of it so far. Tony, is there any last words or last things that you saw from the game you wanted to point out from a detail perspective?
Really just another shout out to Tony Fields. It looked like he was flying around the field. His play recognition was great. He was shooting the gaps, like playing without hesitation, just not really thinking too much, and he was playing really well.
There's a lot of fans who are older who are concerned about linebacker. You hear that from a lot of fans who are above 50. And I can understand why. Because I grew up in this generation too. Linebackers are more from the edge and they're more on the defensive line. The days of, you kind of see a Singletary, like, there's a random Zach Thomases out there. Obviously, like Brian, if I can't remember his last name, from the Bears. But there's Urlacher. But like, there's not Ray Lewis. Like, there's those kind of guys that are not. You don't really see that anymore, and this is more prototypical. But Fields is big. He's not a draft pick. They need him to really come through, because I will say, for the linebacker perspective, we don't know what JOK is. Anthony Walker's a talented as it is in mental stability. I think he's a leader. I don't know if he's great or good on the field, but I like his presence in the locker room. I do. And Jacobs, athlete, like him. Yeah. So for Fields to be good, that would go a long way, because I do like Sion Taki. I can't believe him. I do like him. He's grown on me.
Yeah.
I do like him. He makes plays.
I mean, I'm big. I think JOK just needs to be healthy, and he's going to be a stud. Anthony Walker, he's good, and he's stable, and he knows he's going to be getting the guys in the right position, which at Mike linebacker, you can't really ask for too much more. Just get everybody on the page, get everybody doing the right things. He is like the definition of consistency out there, so he can calm everyone. Really, the concern is if JOK and Walker go down like last year.
Yeah, I think Walker's big. And I'm a huge JOK guy. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, so I love JOK. I got to be honest. I got to see JOK do it a second year. I thought towards the end of his first year, he really started to come on. I liked it. Last year, I thought it was kind of goofy.
Yeah, I feel like he was battling injuries, and the defensive scheme was kind of
Yeah, it was goofy. Like I said, I'm not saying he played bad. I thought it was goofy. But I want to see if he can put a complete season together. So there you go. Tony and Andy, grab your favorite beverage. Enjoy this every week. Tony does a great job with this stuff. And again, go to BelieveInTheLand.com. Check out Tony's article. We'll be live Friday from some sort of beverage consumption place watching Aaron Savali and the Browns, and we'll promote that as well. Tony's there. I'm here. Have a good week. More of the Browns Friday against the Commanders.
Big game.
Big game. Look at that,
Big
Tony.
Deshaun starting.
Well, look, real quickly, we're going to do 2 goodbyes, I guess. This is not your normal preseason game. Got to see what we have in Deshaun Watson. Just a little bit of the smoke.
Just need some hope. That's it. Give me one good throw and I'm sold.
If I were Stefanski, as soon as he throws a touchdown, I'd be like, all right.
Done. That's it.
More Tony and I throughout the season. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
See ya.